B-Series Bill. Today, we're going to be doing a review on the Mechanix Wear Mechanix Gloves Fast Fit series. I've seen a lot of reviews on these gloves on the internet, but unfortunately, I don't see any from the Mechanix point of view. All I see is, people for more of a hunting purpose or a general work glove or gardening, home improvement, what have you, which is totally fine, but nobody's really nailed down home, being a mechanic and using these gloves. So let's go ahead and get into it. A lot of people like to say, a true mechanic doesn't wear gloves. Well, that's up to true debate, and I'm not going to get into it. As far as I'm concerned, these are your breadwinners. These are what get you your money, be it that you work at a flat rate shop or be it that you work in an hourly shop. That's a whole nother debate for another day. I'm not going to get into it. As far as I'm concerned, I want to get trucks out, I want to get my job done, I want to get paid, and I want to go home safe. So from the factor of safety, I wear gloves, and it helps me produce and get better workout. Well, the shop that I was working at the time when I bought these gloves, I was doing trailer mechanic work and also doing tire work as well. And so I can be doing anything from, changing tires, mount and dismount tires, repairing tires, and then also doing brakes, wheel seals, body work, just general kind of jack of all trades, master of none when it came to trucks and trailers and tires of that matter as well. So when I bought these gloves, I said, okay, and also to, give a little heads up too, these were only $17 at Costco for a 2-pack, which I've checked their website. I believe they're up to now like $24, but either way, good deal for a 2-pack of gloves. So I bought a set, one for home for working on my own projects and another set for being at work. And I decided, okay, let's give these gloves a good 30 days in the shop, 30 days at work. And even if they started to, rip up and tear, then whatever, I will continue to wear these gloves and keep on rock and rolling. Now, a little side note is I also did always wear a set of nitro gloves underneath these gloves, mainly because, when I'd go to the computer to write up my RO repair order, for those who aren't familiar with RO systems, I didn't want to get oil and grease all over the computer and, upset the other techs that I was working with. So that being said, when I get a little tear like this, it was not the end of the world. But, this synthetic leather, as Mechanix Wear likes to call it, is a lot stronger than, cheap little nitrile. So needless to say, it was pretty easy to rip into these gloves. So, but yeah, all in all, it wasn't until maybe, I don't know, day 21, day 22 that I really started to get rips. And the rips I really got were more from the outside in the fingertip area, especially right here where this pleather, if you want to call it that, met up with the fabric. That's where I'd get my most tears coming in. And, especially when you're sitting there, oh, wrong hand. That's not very smart of me. Especially when you're sitting there and you're working a bolt over, you're really going to be putting a lot of wear and tear into the fingertips. Another point of contention of wear that I really had wearing these gloves was especially in the palms. Now, I did a lot of tire work as well. And those of you who are not familiar with working with big rigs, you think, oh, just a little set of tires, no biggie at all. Well, you're dealing with massive giant tires, be it duals or super singles. So needless to say, there's a lot of grip going on trying to work a wheel and tire over a hub to get it back on, mounted back up to the truck or trailer. So I saw a lot of tearing and ripping in these palms, and both gloves did it on me. So I was very disappointed that it ripped there. And you'll see, looking at the non-ripped set of gloves I still have, right here there's a seam, and that's where that just shredded and filleted open. And that was very disappointing that happened, but basically I'd rather take a rip here than rip into my own hands. All things being considered though, these gloves are not true leather gloves. They're a synthetic leather, according to Mechanix Wear on their website. I dug up some specs on the gloves, and also they can be found within the tag of the gloves as well. But the palm contains 60% nylon, 38% polyurethane, and 2% carbon black, whatever that's supposed to be. Maybe it's a dye. I couldn't tell you. I'm not a scientist. The back of the gloves are 100% polyester, knitted fabric 2, whatever that's supposed to mean. But then also it says 96% polyester and 4% spandex, which maybe it's this going to this. I'm not 100% sure. The side of the fingers are knitted fabric 2. Again, we got that little fancy term coming back. And then 96% polyester and 4% spandex, which makes sense with, you know, they're pretty stretchy. They're pretty pliable. These were not, I did not really have to break these gloves in whatsoever, which that was something I really did like about them in use. And last but not least, the back of the thumbs are of the same materials, 96 polyester and 4% spandex. So these gloves, they're not, you know, true cowhide leather. They're not super, super tough. And, you know, they're a bargain deal if you ask me when it comes to a quality set of gloves. So they're not your end all be all, but they're definitely worth the price if you ask me, at least the price that I paid for it and the performance I got out of it. Some more pros that Mechanix Wear said about these gloves on their website is they have this touchscreen technology. The shop I was working at the time didn't have tablets. The shop I'm working at currently do have tablets, but I don't wear these gloves in my current shop. I have a different pair of gloves, which I will be doing a review on those in the future. But I guess that this fabric is supposed to work really well with touchscreens. I haven't played around with it, you know, so it didn't really apply to me. But I guess, you know, if you're constantly working with tablets in the shop that you're working in, or at home using an iPad or something like that to look up diagnostics or what have you, I guess that can be a major pro for you. Another thing that they said that they had technology in these gloves with is their Tech Dry evaporation cooling system, which is I would assume these little breather holes right here, and maybe some more technology in the way the fabric is knitted, or maybe it's just a gimmick. I honestly couldn't tell you. I'm no business major, but I would say wearing these gloves, they didn't really soak out too bad. I do live in the Pacific Northwest, so I was working a lot in the rain. They didn't get too soaked too bad, and when I come in the next day after these spent all night sitting in my toolbox, you know, they weren't completely soaked. They weren't dripping wet, so they didn't retain water too bad. In the sense of letting water in and grease letting in. I couldn't tell you more times than not. I mean, I couldn't tell you enough times that I'd pull these gloves off, and I'd see my nitrils that were just soaking wet or just covered in grease and covered with gear oil. And it's just like, oh, great. And, you know, rip them off and use my normal hands for typing on the computer, as you should. But, yeah. So, some other specs about these gloves is these are the XLs. I got the XLs because I do have some larger hands than average. Some wear and tear areas that I did find having the XLs is, for some reason, these gloves were just a little, like, I could pinch it up here and I'm not getting my skin. So a lot of times when I was gripping stuff, you can see my finger was trying to pop through, and that can play into a lot of the wear and tear you can see with these gloves. So, but another thing that I really enjoyed about these gloves, in the sense of if you're trying to be quick with your job and you need to get these gloves off quick, you know, there isn't some Velcro strap that's going to wear down and break over time. It was as simple as grab it and just rip it clean off. And I really enjoyed that about these gloves. But to circle everything around, all in all, the performance that I truly got out of these gloves, having them and wearing them and working with them, was overall satisfactory. They weren't the end-all be-all. They weren't the greatest pair of gloves I've wore at work, but they're definitely up there. And for the price point, definitely worth it. But I would highly recommend picking up these gloves for any kind of use whatsoever. But in the field of mechanics, Absolutely. If you, value keeping your hands safe and rather, cut the material instead of cutting your hand, I would 100% recommend these gloves, but with the disclaimer of they're not perfect, they're not going to last forever, and obviously you guys can tell after my 30-day torture test with these gloves at work, which I wish I could have got some footage of that. They definitely ripped apart, and they definitely saw some serious damage done to them. So I would say take it with a grain of salt that these gloves are not going to last you forever, but when you have them, the performance that you're going to get out of them will be great. I enjoyed having them, and they worked good for me, and I trust Mechanix Wear. It's a great brand, and they haven't truly let me down. These were all right. So if I was to give it a score of 1 to 10, I'd put these about a 7. 10 being like the gloves that I would always buy 100% of the time and, champion forever, and 1 being, I wouldn't even take them if you offered to give them to me for free. So yeah, I would give that score to these gloves. So they weren't too bad at all. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really hope it helped you out, and I hope it gave you guys a path of picking a good set of gloves for your mechanic purposes, being a professional or being at-home mechanic yourself. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Please consider liking the video if you liked it, disliking if you didn't like it. Really helps me out, lets me know what kind of content you guys are enjoying. And leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Share your experience with these gloves, or let me know if you get them and try them out. And tell me you guys what you think of them. Please consider subscribing. It really helps my channel grow and really helps me get more videos out there to more people. I have videos on my drift Miata, my lifted Miata, and all the other automotive cred that I'm always doing. So yeah, I've been your host, B-Series Bill. You guys have a good one. Thanks for watching.